In this episode, Ash and Go visit Alola and reunite with pretty much everybody. Hey, this is GatorEX, and yes, let's go ahead and discuss episode 37 of Pokemon Journeys. Now, this one we knew was going to be coming for a while, ever since the brand new opening, and we knew that there was going to be some of the Alola characters. This one, they actually, returned to Alola, and this one made a little sense for them to visit Alola and meet everybody again. They'd been to some other regions, but it makes a little more sense with Alola, just because of, where everybody is at the end of that series, Sun and Moon, and since it was the last series preceding this one, it makes a little more sense. But regardless, it's a pretty good episode. So it starts off with Go evolving his Execute into an Exeggutor, of course a regular one, and this prompts Ash to say, hey, I wanted to see Alola Exeggutor. So that's their that's their start to the journey to head over to Alola, and they reunite with Professor Kukui, and it's pretty nice too. Of course, Ash is very clicks right back into things, because this was the region where it kind of, he lived in and everything. He lived with Kukui, and he went to the trainer school with everybody else. It's a lot more like a home of his, since this wasn't one of the regions that he traveled from here to there. He kind of, for the most part, stayed in the central location, I guess. But it's pretty interesting too. Of course, Go just seems not necessarily uncomfortable. Not that he was dragged along, but he doesn't exactly know how to react to everything, or with everybody just being, with Ash, I guess, being so familiar with everyone. But it's a pretty good start so far. Kukui is, of course, very nice with everyone. Now, the first half of this episode, just about the first half of this episode, feels very, I don't want to say fan service, yes, but in a good way, in the sense that, like I said, they're basically reuniting with everybody, and Go's meeting everybody for the first half of the episode, basically all the characters, and that's not a bad thing, of course, like I said, because it's just nice for this to happen, to check in on Alola. Be great if that could happen for some of the other regions, but later on, I think, like I said, it makes first sense for this one to be the first. Now, I need to confess something. I actually have never watched the Pokemon Sun and Moon anime, but I still enjoyed this episode, and I thought it was really good. The thing is, though, a lot of these characters, I just really do not know their character at all. I don't know their character arc. I don't know what kind of development they've gone through. I don't know a lot about them, because their characters are different in the anime, in the games. Of course, I played the games. I love Sun and Moon, and I really wish that I would have watched the anime, because Sun and Moon was a great era, and some of my favorites also, I guess, maybe with starting my channel and this and that. But regardless, it's a cool episode. After they reunite with Professor Burnett and see the baby, which means time has actually passed from the last one. I do know some plot points, at least for the plot points like near the end of the series. Of course, Ash winning, Professor Burnett being pregnant with a baby, and now that the baby's born, it's interesting, I guess, to see the passage of time. Of course, Ash also catches up with his Pokemon that he left there, which again, is interesting, I guess, because typically, he would leave his Pokemon with Professor Oak, or release them, I guess, or have them go off on whatever journeys. But basically all of his Alola Pokemon he just left there with Kukui. So that's, that's kind of neat to see. And like I said, it's very, very mushy, I guess, just reuniting with everybody. And like I said, I'm definitely not going to get the same impact that some other people are going to have who have seen the Sun and Moon anime, but regardless, it was still cute to watch, for me at least. While they're out looking for some Alola Pokemon, they end up getting separated, and Go falls off a cliff, and he ends up getting fished out by Lana, which is a pretty funny interaction between the two. And Ash, meanwhile, catches up with his Rotom Dex, which gets roasted by his Rotom smartphone. But, it is kind of interesting, I guess. We don't really see the Rotom phones in Journeys really having personalities. Well, I guess the Rotom Dex from Alola had, definitely a personality. Except for Team Rocket's Rotom phone in Journeys. That one has some kind of personality, as weird as it may be. But it all kind of wraps up. They all end up meeting each other, and everyone gets back together at the trainer school. Not before Go is being questioned by everybody about everything in Kanto, basically, or about his Pokemon. Again, Go traveling to so many different regions and having some Galar Pokemon. He brings Sobble and Raboot with him, so of course they're all an interesting sight for everybody there. Sobble and Raboot. There was something interesting, though, I didn't mention, but earlier, I like one thing that Kukui had said to Go Go in the sense that it seems like Sobble really trusts you, because Sobble being such a Pokemon that's frequently scared or nervous and is even scared of Kukui, but to see that it hangs out with Go, it hops on his shoulder and it trusts him, I think that was nice to see. It was a nice little moment for Go. And the second half of this episode is really, I guess, kind of focused on Go, mostly because Kiawe is not necessarily he and Go will kind of get into it in the sense that Kiawe, who was, I guess, Ash's rival while he was in Alola, kind of sees Go that same way and keeps calling that he's you're Ash's new rival, basically that. And he says that he won't, something along the lines, okay, we know that they're going to battle. We know that they're going to battle by the end of the episode. So it's basically building up to that. Of course, Ash shows up, everything kind of calms down a bit. They even get a letter from Lily, who, like I said, unfortunately, I just really do not know the extent of her story. But it's nice to see. I really just do need to go back and watch it. Like I said, other people are going to have some different perspectives on this episode, and they're probably better suited to discuss it in depth. But like I said, near the end of the episode, or like the second half of this episode, we get a battle between Go and Kiawe, and I think that's really good also, and that's more so what I liked to see, I guess, because I know Go from watching Pokemon Journeys since it started, so it's good to see him kind of meet a challenge like this. And he even has kind of a great speech too while they're battling. It's Kiawe's Turtonator versus Go's Raboot, so fire type versus fire type. But he has a good speech in this battle too, basically saying like, hey, you keep saying I'm Ash's rival, but I'm not his rival. Rivals will be helping, or something like helping people with their own dreams. And he says something along the lines of, I have my own dream that I want to follow, and Ash has his that he's gonna achieve on his own. I don't know the exact wording, but I like that he kind of has a little more, kind of takes a little more of a stand for himself. Like I said, Go's dream, his goal isn't to battle, as I've mentioned in other episodes, but it is cool to see him battle because you kind of see him growing a little more in the sense of taking command, I guess, at least, or at least, wanting to try something new, something different in this sense. And especially because we see that Raboot just really seems to like to battle, especially in the last episode. Again, the last episode was a great Go episode. But of course, he ends up getting smoked by a Z move, which is just, it's pretty cool. And I guess I really do need to watch Sun and Moon so I could see more of those Z moves. But near the end of it, their issues, if at all, were resolved. Because, Kiawe was really, just kind of seems like he was testing him. Because he says something like, can I trust you to take care of Ash? And Go says something along the lines of like, yeah, you can. And so it's nice. And like I said, it's a little more interesting, a little more development for Go. One thing I do think is interesting, I will say, I think using a Z move against, some kid like this who has no idea what Z moves are, basically, I think that was a little unfair. But at the same time, maybe I don't think there will be a rematch between the two. That would be nice to see later in the series, a rematch between Go and Kiawe, especially if it's by the time, when Go's Raboot has evolved into a Cinderace, which we know is going to happen because of, the opening kind of spoiling it. But we know that he's going to get a Cinderace. And it'd be really neat, too, to see if something happens along the line like, I'm not expecting Go to battle a whole lot more, but I really would like to see it. Just because it's always interesting that he does. And like I said, especially in the last episode where he was battling a lot like Ash because he learned all of that from Ash, basically. But it will be interesting to see whether his Cinderace ends up being like a Gigantamax Cinderace and, has the Gigantamax form and this and that. So it'd be interesting to, like, now that he's faced a Z move, I'm wondering if then eventually he'll have, like, that Gigantamax Cinderace with the Max or the G Max move. So I'm wondering if maybe it's not necessarily like a strong hint toward that, but maybe it could be. But either way, he ends up catching the Alola and Exeggutor like they went to Alola to do, and it's a really nice episode. And like I said, a lot of the characters appeared in this episode, as opposed to, say, other returning characters you've seen in the past. But this basically just opens the door, opens the floodgate for so many other characters to return later on in the series, and I think it's great. I think it'd be interesting to see if we kind of rewind back through each region. This was like a big Alola episode. We've had episodes in Galar And, most episodes I think have taken place in Kanto because they live in Kanto. But they've had a lot of episodes in Galar as well, especially, meeting a lot of the new Galar Pokemon, meeting the characters in the Galar region, and, one of the gym leaders as well. So I think it'd be neat if we kind of rewind as well, have a big Alola episode like this. Maybe few dozen episodes from now we have like a big X and Y episode or a big Kalos episode where Ash reunites with, some of his Kalos friends, and so on and so on. All the way back to, I guess, Kanto again, where he reunites with Rock and Misty, this and that. Again, I don't know exactly how many characters are going to be returning, but this episode itself is just very important for that, because it basically says, yes, anybody and probably everybody is going to come back in this series, which, I think is great. I think it was a good idea to hold off until now. Realistically, I guess this is kind of early, only 37 episodes in out of, however many episodes are going to be, probably, well over 100, definitely, 200 maybe, but, 200, that's going to be 4 years, over 100, definitely. But I guess 37 episodes, I wonder how early on that is for to be, have an episode like this. But regardless, it was a fun episode. Like I said, I probably would enjoy this a whole lot more had I seen Sun and Moon, which I definitely need to go back and watch sometime. So when I get time, I will. But let me know what you think down in the comments below about this episode. Did you enjoy it? What were some of your favorite moments? Who else would you like to see return in future episodes? All of that. Leave a comment below. We'll continue the discussion down there. I want to remind you also that I am reviewing the Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s series as it goes on, which that one also apparently is a 20th anniversary celebration anime. So it'll be interesting to see how they tie that back into the previous series, but I do review that every week. I'm actually going to be watching the episode right after I finish recording this, so both of these reviews are going to be going up the same day for once, but regardless, it is there every week. But thank you so much. If you could check that out, that would mean so much. Anyway, if you enjoyed the content, remember to leave a like and subscribe to show your support. You can enable notifications by clicking the bell icon next to the subscribe button. This will make sure you see each new video as it comes out, and will make you a member of the Chingling Squad. Anyway, this has been GatorEX. Have a nice day.